이 로스앤젤레스 대도시의 유권자 여러분들을 돕기 위해 배경이나 직업에 관계없이 자원봉사에 임하고 있는 남녀들이 있습니다. 그들은 바로 투표소 요원들입니다. 그들은 선거 당일 유권자들을 위해 투표지를 배포하고 질문에 답하며 투표소를 개장하고 폐장합니다. 그들은 돈을 위해서가 아니라 다른 사람을 돕는 마음으로 이러한 일을 마다하지 않습니다. 미국 사회의 중추적 인물로서 매우 훌륭한 일을 수행할 수 있는 이러한 투표소 요원 일에 여러분도 참여하십시오.
California's agriculture and environment are under attack by something which may appear harmless, but its damage is very real. The damage by invasive pests. Learn about stopping their attack at hungrypests.com, because they're here and they're hungry.
You know, it's that time of year again, to clear all that annoying dry brush from around your house. In the event of a fire, dry brush is extremely combustible and can explode. By clearing brush 200 feet from your home, you create a barrier, lessening the likelihood of spreading a fire. I'll still be here when you get back! Get the message. Be prepared.
3. Mr. Smith is excused. Mr. West is excused. Thank you, Mr. Alarcon. Mr. Koretz, Mr. LeBonge, Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Zine are here. If we could get Mr. Weezer. Mr. Weezer is here. We're at 8 members. We need 2 more to begin our meeting. Mr. Krikorian, please come to chambers. Mr. Krikorian, please come to chambers. Mr. Parks, please come to chambers. Mr. Parks. And Mr. Reyes, please come to chambers. We have 8 members in chambers. We want to thank those members, Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Weston, Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. LeBonge, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Weezer, Mr. Alarcon. Number 8. Okay. Any council members ready for presentation? Mr. Wesson or Mr. Reyes? Mr. Garcetti? Mr. Weezer? Mr. Weezer, are you ready? Mr. Weezer. Mr. Weezer, are you ready for presentation? Mr. Weston, you ready for presentation?
I'll need just a couple of minutes.
All right, you're first up. Mr. Weezer, are you ready? All right, we are ready to do presentations. We now have 1, 2,
We're live, sir.
we're at 9 members. One more member will be able to give it our council meeting for Friday, February 11th. Good morning, Los Angeles. Councilmember Zine. We are waiting one more member to begin our meeting, and we have presentations ready to begin in just a moment. So welcome to City Council for Friday, February 11th. Historic day in Cairo, Egypt. Mr. Parks, if you could please come to chambers. Again, we want to thank the council members who are here on time. Mr. Alarcon, Mr. Weezer, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Krikorian, Mr. LeBonge, Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Weston, Councilmember Garcetti, and I'm Councilmember Zine. We need one more member to begin. That'll bring us to our quorum. Mr. Wesson. Mr. Wesson? Mr. Wesson, you ready? All right, in chambers, if in chambers you can please have a seat. We are going to begin our presentations. Mr. Wesson, our first presenter this morning. Mr. Herb Wesson from the Great District Number 10. Mr. Herb Wesson. Sergeant Arms, if you can please bring the chamber to order. And Mr. Wesson will begin with our first presentation. ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Herb Wesson.
Thank you. Where's Cora? Come here. We're waiting for you to turn the television on. Now we're waiting for our TV time. We already get the shortest month in a year, so at least we're having technical difficulties, Mr. President. And he's telling me to stretch it out. Now, okay. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody to City Hall this great Friday morning. Before I start, I've got to give a lot of thanks to, I want to thank, even though I don't see them here as of yet, I want to thank Councilmember Parks, Perry, Hahn, and the Mayor's office for being very supportive of this program that we've started over the past 5 years. I've got to thank GSD for helping me do something special for the people that we're going to honor on this great day. I've got to thank Cultural Affairs for always being there and helping us come up with a very interesting, sometimes funny, but always an educational display on the bridge that connects City Hall East to the main City Hall building. If council members, if we disappeared for 30 days, I don't think the public would miss us that much. But if the people sitting beside me and behind me were to be out of action for 24 hours, the residents of this great city would be alarmed. We honor people who have chosen to be public servants. Individuals that get all of the blame, none of the praise. People don't even see them work. And every day and every month, we ask them to do more with less. And somehow, every day, every month, they do it. I was having a discussion with members of my family. Now that I'm a grandfather, one of the big topics is cartoons. And we were talking about today's cartoons, and they asked me, well, Dad, what was one of your favorite cartoons? It was about a guy named Hector Heathcote, who was an unsung hero in early American history. I have before you today many, many Hector Heathcotes. I'm going to ask every member a favor. Everybody that can hear my voice and see my little round face. When was that moment? What was that incident that changed the course of your life and made you decide that you wanted to be a public servant? Think about that moment. I thought about it last night. I come from a blue-collar family, the first member of my family to go to college. My father had an 8th grade education. He worked for Chevrolet on the assembly lines. I had an uncle, his brother, who worked at Ford, another uncle who was a butcher, another uncle who worked for the steel mills. When I decided to go to college, I applied to several and got accepted to only one, the one school that I wanted to go to the least. The least. But I believe in fate. And there was a reason why I went to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, the smallest but the oldest African-American school in the history of this great country. I didn't know anything about fraternities, but they looked like fun. And my roommate was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, and since, his brother was a member, and since he was going to pledge this fraternity and he was my best friend, I had to pledge that fraternity. I majored in partying. I minored in partying more, with a side on girls and cheap wine. Did not have a clue what I wanted to do with my life. But I became a member of this fraternity, and every year, each sorority and fraternity had to stage a weekend of events, and you'd have a dance and maybe a singing group, and then you'd have a guest speaker. I wanted to get a militant because it was during the black movement period. But my fraternity brothers wanted a politician. I didn't like politicians. They weren't cool. So they made a request to a young congressman from the great state of California. And I was determined not to like him. But when he got out of the car, and since I didn't want him there, my fraternity brothers put me in charge of the escort committee. They said, we'll show the little fella. His name was Ron Dellums. He got out of the car, tall, handsome, as cool as, I'm telling you, cool. Down to earth. I liked him immediately. Then it was time for him to speak before the campus. When I used to go to church, I always sat in the back row. When I went to listen to a speech, always in the back row. To a lecture, always in the back row, so I could sneak out. I don't think I heard an entire sermon until I was 26 years old. But I couldn't sit in the back row. I could not sit in the back row because I was on the escort committee, and I remember 3 rows from the front of the church to the left of Ron Dellums. Here I was, bored out of my mind. Didn't have a clue what I wanted to do in life. Again, majored in partying, minored in more partying. 10 minutes into his speech, I turned to my fraternity brothers and I said, that's what I want to do. He's who I want to be. Not a congressman, not an elected official, but a public servant. This man stood up and he talked about civil rights and equal rights. He talked about blacks partnering with poor whites and poor Latinos, working and partnering with the gay and lesbian community. He talked about freedom was for everyone and that we had to join together and realize that we were all the same in God's eyes. That changed my life. That was my moment. That's when I was determined to become a public servant. Now, I don't know what moment changed the lives of the people that sit behind me today, but it was something. It may not have been as thrilling as listening to Ron Dellums. It might have been something as simple as, hey man, the city is hiring. Hey, you want to be a firefighter? But something changed their lives, and because of each and every one of them, this city is the greatest city on the planet. You would be, give yourselves a round of applause. We have a woman who became a journeyman plumber, who decided to further her education, became a doctor, got her PhD, and because of city silliness, we wouldn't even let her put the title doctor on her card. But that's changed now, and that's good. We have a young man here that we see walking around. He got an Emmy for producing a news show. His name is Bernie Parks Jr. We've got a fire chief, a top chief of our police department. When they joined those departments, I bet they never dreamed that they would rise to the level that they have. And I could go on and on. People who worked, and all of a sudden somebody said, join a union, get involved in union leadership, and they did. And now they help us negotiate to protect the wages and benefits of thousands and thousands of workers. Now, members, you know me, and you know I don't talk all of the time. But I'm going to talk a little extra today because these people are me, I am them, and I am damn proud of them. To call them my brothers and my sisters. People that we call and make complaints to, but people that we rarely call and say thank you to. I asked them, please send us some photographs, different stages of your life. Tell us what you like to do, what your hobbies are. And a lot of them got into it, and if you go look at the display on the bridge, it's very interesting. I think I see John Reamer in a football uniform. Given the impression that he started, I doubt it. He probably was the manager and borrowed that uniform. The young brother who's assistant general manager over at the convention center. I always thought he was cool, but I didn't know he knew how to fly a plane. He would float around in kayaks and rides a motorcycle. Now, I had hoped Chief Peaks and Chief Paysinger would send us one of those 60 pictures when they had an afro bigger than Don King's, but no, I guess the paramilitary organizations that they belong to, they decided to just be cool. But what I want to do as I end my remarks, Albert Lord of my office works very hard, and he puts this display together. Give Albert Lord. And he came up with a theme, and the theme is at your service. I want to ask all of the members that we're honoring and their families to just stand up and ask everyone here to give them the round of applause that they've earned and that they deserve. Please, honorees, rise. Stay standing. Now, we wanted to do something different for you. Something different than just getting a proclamation or a resolution from the city of Los Angeles. I'm sure many of you have them. So what I decided to do with the help of Cora and the Los Angeles Association of the Black Employees, we were able to get some additional funding. And I'm very grateful, Cora, for all that you've done. Plus, she lives in my district, so I got to kiss up a little bit right now. No, she's a great asset for the city to have. But what we have, and I will present to Cora, is I put together the entire display in a book so that you can have it, read it, show your family. It's beautiful, and I referenced earlier that I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, so that's why it's black and gold. And I'm going to present each and every one of you with that. We're going to go outside and take a group picture. But before I do that, I want to first apologize for any employee that I missed. This was a very difficult process, so I am apologizing in advance. If you were missed, it is my bad, not yours. So please blame Albert Lord or Cora. Don't blame me, especially if you live in the 10th District. At this time, I'd like to ask, and see, all of the members of the council are sitting up there right now saying, oh, God, is Herb going to have 7 people speak? No, I'm not. I'm going to have, representing all of these phenomenal people, our friends, the glue that keeps the city together. I'm going to have Cora speak on their behalf. Cora, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Wesson, and my thanks also to you, the honorable members of this great city council. Now, on behalf of the Los Angeles Association of Black Personnel, we are honored to join with Councilmember Wesson to salute the magnificent accomplishments of African American executives in this city. Now,
No, wait.
Now, as you may know, the LAABP was created during the administration of Mayor Tom Bradley to advocate, prepare, and promote the advancement of blacks in city service. So, we are delighted to be a co-sponsor of the exhibit and of this recognition service. Now, the really great thing about this recognition is that there are so many positive adjectives to describe the individuals being saluted today. I mean, they are dynamic, intelligent, conscientious, and productive. But above all, each of them are dedicated to providing this city and our citizens with the best service possible. They, all of these honorees and the LAAPP, are your partners in ensuring the success and continued operation of city services, even in the midst of these challenging times that we're in. These are incredible executives who are committed, and they believe in this city and in the leadership of this city. And they've demonstrated these qualities throughout their careers, and they'll continue to do so until they leave. And so, honorable partners, we thank you, and we look forward to our continued joint efforts to make the city of Los Angeles the best that it can be.
Thank you, Cora. Let's give them another round of applause. And to my dear friends and colleagues, I have presented each and every one of you with the book. I highly recommend that you look through it, and if you have a moment, go on the bridge so that you can see the display. It is a phenomenal display, and again, thank Councilwoman Hahn and Parks and Perry and the Mayor's office for their support, and I mean financial support. It means a lot to me. Thank you so very much.
Mr. LeBonge.
Thank you very much. I want everybody to sit down and relax right now.
Yeah, you can sit down.
Okay. And I just want to rise to say what beautiful words, Cora, when you spoke of Tom Bradley, and to understand the history of the city, and when Tom Bradley came here and he opened the doors. And the only person I'm missing right here is Olivia Mitchell, who should be right up in front. Give Olivia Mitchell, who was with Mr. Bradley. Very good. You're very special, Olivia. I was on Mayor Bradley's Youth Council, and also I got a job in the summer of '74 and '75. And during that time, it was community beautification like our Conservation Corps. And I'm very proud that Daryl Arbuthnot, please stand up, Daryl, was then 14 years old, and he worked very hard that summer. and we picked up a lot of couches together, and I talked to him a little about the fire department. And then there was a wedge to open up the fire department more, to be more reflective of the city. And many of you, John this morning out on a water main problem, I didn't know I'd see you today. Each and every one of you. Alice, the picture with you and all the presidents. It's very special who you are and what you've done. So I just wanted to thank you personally for what you've done. I'm very, very proud of Denise Verrett, who is running our zoo and done such a great job in transforming the zoo. And I wish I could mention everybody's name. I will tell you, too, our Bridge Gallery is a special space. And Mr. Wesson, you're very special to take this task up every year. And your staff is very special to create that. So I walk the halls of City Hall because you get more done in the halls of City Hall than you do in City Hall. And in the halls of City Hall, when you cross that bridge, it's time to read about the people who help this city every day. Great job, Herb Wesson. Cora, great job. Congratulations, everybody.
Mr. Rosendahl.
First, I want to thank Herb Wesson. You're one of the best orators I've ever met. And when you asked us to think about what was our turning point, I have to think of two things. Martin Luther King, who I happen to know and spent some time with in Cleveland, and Robert F. Kennedy. I ended up working for Robert F. Kennedy and was in this town when he got assassinated, and to see that beautiful complex of schools in memory of him shows that the spirit lives on, it lives on within us. Now, having had the privilege and the humble reality of being a servant of the people, my opportunities in the last 5-6 years with the leadership of this city is sitting in the rows right here. Earl Patient and I were just laughing at each other a little bit because we giggle a lot together, but we work hard together, the police, the fire, and all of the other departments. So my father was a janitor, my mother was a maid, they came from Germany, and they moved up the ranks, so I even feel the identification. But being a white boy, they don't see that sensibilities that you all have to go through, because prejudice is absolutely the death nail. What we see what's going on in Egypt today, where the people have empowered themselves, is the kind of democracy that we're moving toward. And of course, we have a president at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And this is a historic moment to have an African American who is our leader in our nation. So God bless African Americans, and God bless your contribution to our great city and our great nation and our world. Thank you.
Ms. Janice Hahn.
Thank you. Well, as an honorary member of the Black Caucus on the City Council, I want to say that I always am so supportive of Councilmember Wesson and what he does every year, and I was happy to provide financial assistance, certainly for the exhibit on the bridge. And, I walked in here a little bit late this morning, and I saw you all standing here, and it was really a great moment because I looked in each of your faces, and I saw very proud people who are in public service just like me. And you are public servants, every one of you, and you have done such an incredible job for the city of Los Angeles. And I will say, people around the city talk all the time really about the great services that you all deliver in your own way every single day. And when we talk about cutting services, that's what gets the most angst from people, because they've come to believe that when you live in the city of Los Angeles, you do get good service, and you do get folks who are really dedicated to their jobs and to the city. I am so proud to honor each and every one of you. Herb, this was a great presentation this morning, and I'm so proud to stand with you and thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you have done to make this city the great city it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Alarcon.
Herb, great job. This is really a great job. You asked what inspired us to get into city service. My first job with the city was working for Mayor Bradley, and I think that speaks loudly for today. What Mayor Bradley understood was not that, not just that his job was to provide services to the city, but the economic power that the public sector could provide to the community. He absolutely understood that there was a segregation prior to his administration, where it was tough for minorities to get jobs at the city. And he also understood that getting those jobs meant creating a middle class for the African American community and for the other minorities in the city. And that's why he ensured that we created minority programs and affirmative action programs and pushed them forward. Even as I go through the community today, for example, Pacoima, Lakeview Terrace, and Panorama City, the African Americans, many times that I see who have been successful, have come out of the city ranks because that was the foundation that provided them the opportunity to achieve the dream. And so, as you honor our city employees of African American heritage, I give praise to the greatest city employee of any ethnic group, Mayor Tom Bradley. But not just because he was an African American employee of the city, but because he had the vision to understand that the city of Los Angeles was changing, that it was going to be more diverse, and that we had a tremendous opportunity, a tremendous resource in that diversity to address by virtue of providing jobs to that same population in the city of Los Angeles. So as I was just telling somebody that it was 30 years ago that Mayor Bradley hired me in his Office of Criminal Justice Planning, and it goes by in a flash, but it's been my pleasure to work with each and every one of those people who are here today. I see so many faces that I've worked with on specific projects. I do apologize for my passion. Sometimes I get a little passionate, but you know, I am deeply immersed in the city family, and thanks to Mayor Bradley. And frankly, I would not be a city council member if it were not for Mayor Bradley's encouragement, his mentorship, and his support. So God bless all of you. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Friday mornings are morning of speeches, but I want to thank her for this presentation. But for you who are here, there was a time when we said we want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And many of us now stand in points of leadership. It's this time of crisis that we have to rise to that occasion. Before we used to say, well, who's the enemy? We wake up in the mornings now, we look in the mirror, and many people think it's us. The fact is, we need to change this environment. We need to inspire our city family, that we need to get ourselves out of this hole, that we need to seek further that discipline, that role model, so that we can inspire ourselves to be in the eyes of our youth as leaders for the future and not targets. And for that I thank you, because it takes courage, it takes a certain amount of intestinal fortitude to wake up every morning knowing what's in front of us. Now we ask ourselves, why now? I think the real answer should be, why not me? And it will take us together to make a difference. And for that I thank you, because you need to be acknowledged for all of your sacrifices, but more importantly, we need to acknowledge each other for how we can work together as a city family. And for that I thank you, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Weston to close. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garcetti. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Weston, those are incredibly moving words to me personally. I spent last night with Ms. Hahn at a Democratic club in West Los Angeles in Mr. Rosenthal's district, and we had a man who asked a question about public pensions and the ballot, and asked us, why we should be giving pensions to public employees at all when most Americans don't have them. And it was actually Dave Freeman, our former general manager from our Department of Water and Power, who was there just as a private citizen, who said, wait a second here. We used to think public service was something noble in this country. We used to lift it up to its heights that people made decisions where they could have made more money, where they could have done other things, and these are folks who don't get Social Security, who probably could be making more money than what they are. Don't you think we should at least give them a pension that's fair? And while we're tackling the most difficult issues, and we tackle them only because you queue them up for us, you do the work and the research, you do the management, you make the changes, you are executives who execute the decisions, and then you ask us to approve them here. So we are only as strong as you make us. But it is each one of you that is tackling those issues, but we sometimes lose sight of who we are. And Mr. Wesson, you reminded us not just who we are as public servants today, but who we are as Americans. The face of America is right here. The face of public service is right here. The reason that we do what we do, Mr. Wesson, you asked us to remember when it was for each of us. Well, to me, it's a daily and a weekly thing. And I just remembered again today, looking at this group of incredible individuals and listening to your words. God bless you all for what you do to serve the people of this city, and thank you, Mr. Wesson, for lifting them up today on your shoulders. Thank you.
Mr. Weezer.
Herb, job well done, and these people work hard each and every day, and it's moments like this that we need to step aside and say thank you for your service, and not only today, we just want to let you know that we're there supporting you and thanking you each and every day for the work you do. And Herb, I looked up Bremer's picture here of the football team, and it is a little dirty, so I think he did get some playing time. So you look pretty good there, Reem, and you were just sitting on the bench, but you were playing. I know you were playing.
Mr. Wesson to close.
Okay, thank you, members, and I just have a couple of quick acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge the Los Angeles Professional Managers Association. They contributed towards this. SEIU, dear friend of mine. Give SEIU a round. Good friend of mine, Bob Blake, and I want to acknowledge that I'm told that towards the end of this month, Chief Austin of the Fire Department will be retiring after 29 years of service. Let's give him a round of applause.
Chief Austin in the audience. Thank you, Mr. Chief Austin.
And lastly, I have a dear friend that's here with the fire department. He's my neighbor. I just call him Kwame. I have to mention him because he too lives in my district. And I have these two little yippy yappy type dogs. And his wife was walking and my dogs chased his wife. So I just saw Kwame last Saturday walking this dog the size of a horse. So I've put up extra gating to protect my dogs from that dinosaur that you now have. To my dear brothers and sisters that we honor today, this is your time. This is your moment. Enjoy it. You all rock. Now, if we could escort, if you guys could follow Albert Lord. Albert Lord, raise your hand. Follow Albert Lord. I think we've got a photo shoot.
Thank you.
Oh, so that I make sure I have a place to stay tonight, my wife Fabian is with us. And I want to thank you, Tom LaBonge, because I might have been sleeping on your porch.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Congratulations to our great city employees.
Great. Thank you for your
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. And as we move forward with the chamber clearing, we will enjoy another presentation in just a moment. Mr. Weezer. Mr. Weezer, you ready? All right, our next presentation will be from Councilmember Jose Weezer, CD 14. And for our viewing audience at home, we are clearing the council chambers for the photo in the back with a large group from our chambers. Mr. Clerk, in the meantime, should we call a roll? Let's do
Alarcon,
that.
Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Very well. First item, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Weston, seconded by Mr. Labange.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Garcetti, seconded by Ms. Hahn. So our next presentation, Mr. Weezer. Mr. Weezer for our next presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with our program. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Weezer for our next presentation.
How are you? All right, we're good. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. It is a true honor for me to stand here next to the group of distinguished veterans, Rocky J. Chavez, who is the Secretary of the California Department of Veteran Affairs, Daniel Contreras, PSC Adjutant, Department of California Disabled American Veterans, Tony Zarate, Navy Chief, Tony Zapata, the 2010 LA County Veteran of the Year, and the Commander of VFW Post 4696. I want to personally thank each of you for your service and sacrifice you have made to protect our freedoms. Every year here in Council Chambers, we pay special thanks to our veterans on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. However, we also express our pride and gratitude to them on a daily basis. We also must remember that at this very moment, American forces are putting themselves in harm's way to protect our freedoms. Today, they are in our thoughts and prayers, and we pray that just like all these veterans here, they too make it home safely. Today, we as a city express our support for SB 599 and SB 1245, which created the Mexican-American Veterans Memorial Beautification and Enhancement Committee to lead the efforts to beautify and enhance the existing El Soldado Memorial in the state capitol. It is an interesting paradigm when we talk about recognizing soldiers of different ethnicities in America. Whether we talk about recognizing the contributions of Filipinos, African Americans, Mexicans, Japanese, or Native American soldiers, and others to our nation's cause, we need to acknowledge and recognize them because, one, their stories are often untold in our history books and in the media, and two, because they often served our country valiantly during a time when they and their families were discriminated against back at home. We must remember that they were willing to give their lives despite this discrimination back at home. Many of them did not make it home. And the thing that they want, and what these types of memorials remind us of, is that on the battlefield, there are no races, there are no social distinctions, there are only soldiers. And that is what these memorials are all about. With that, it is my distinct honor to introduce Secretary Rocky J. Chavez, who will share a few words with us about what this memorial means to all of us. Welcome, Secretary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Council members, especially for your leadership and giving us the opportunity to be here, sir. Well, I must tell you, it's great to be back to Los Angeles, being born in L.A. County Hospital. This is my home. And it's, some of you may not know, but my time in the military, well, the influence started with my father. My father worked in the fields as a migrant and went off to World War II. And he instilled in me the issue of service. I followed behind him. I retired from the Marine Corps after 28 years as a colonel in the United States Marine Corps. And from then, my two sons, one son went in the Coast Guard Academy, and my current son is lieutenant commander in the Navy. And we're a family of veterans. And what this event we're talking about here today is exactly that. And I have a request from all of you. And the request is that as you go to your districts, you allow us the opportunity to come there and share with your constituencies this great product. Because what we're talking about here is a respect of the veteran, a respect of the service member, but also a recognition of the important position that the Latino community has conducted in our country. I would like now to introduce to you our leader of this whole project, and he'll have a short video on it, Daniel Contreras.
Thank you very much, Secretary Chavez. Thank you, Councilman Rizar. We appreciate your support and wish to thank you again for attending the Los Angeles meeting we had at the new Los Angeles Veterans Home. By far, it's been the most publicly attended meeting, so we're very proud that Los Angeles had such a great turnout. Our Chairman, Robert Ruiz, wishes he could be here today, but was unable to attend, and he expresses his gratitude as well. Although no government or public funds can be used, the project has been highly supported by the California Department of Veterans Affairs, as evident by the attendance of the Secretary today. It is supported by all service organizations in the state and nationally by LULAC. Please enjoy a short video describing the history and the proposed design concept. Thank you.
My son was killed in Vietnam. He's not only a hero to me, but he's a hero to our Latino community. And I still want something beautiful to be in Sacramento to remember not only my son, but all of the men and women that have given their life for our country.
In the early 1950s, a dedicated group of women known as the Society of War Mothers came together to create a community memorial in memory of their children who fought and died in World War II. Their efforts resulted in the construction of a dignified memorial known as El Soldado, which stands at the state capitol grounds in Sacramento. It has stood for decades as a silent testament to the bravery and service of men and women, soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guard personnel who served in our armed forces. However, through the years, the memorial has largely been ignored and is now rarely seen or visited by the public. It no longer reflects the proper honor with which we want to remember the heroes from our community, and it falls far short of the status befitting a commemoration of the state capitol. Finally, in 2010, the California Mexican-American Veterans Memorial Committee unveiled plans to beautify, enhance, and restore the memorial by creating an inviting and easily accessible commemoration to honor California's Latino veterans and 43 Latinos who have been awarded our nation's highest military honor, the Congressional Medal of Honor. We've been able to document.
Since World War II, our memorial has been ignored. We're here to change that. Legislators passed into law and the governor appointed a committee to beautify and enhance the memorial. We don't want to change what our mothers have accomplished. We were formed to beautify and enhance it. The memorial stands up to the standards of memorials on the 40 acres dedicated to our history in California. That's what we want. The memorial is located next to the Treasury building across from the Capitol, and that we know of, it's the only Mexican-American Veterans Memorial located on Capitol grounds. I hope this video and our comments have enlightened you and inspired you to give of your time, talent, and treasures to fulfill the vision of the original mothers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So as you can see, this is a noble cause. We'd ask you again to call to action is to allow us to come to your districts, give us the opportunity to talk to your communities, get the word out to the community. I have the honor of representing over 2 million veterans in the state of California. The largest catchment of those veterans are in Los Angeles. And we know that the demographics are that the Hispanic community is here, but we know all veterans will support this effort. So please allow us to come to your districts whenever you want. We'll be there and present this program and ask for their support. Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcetti?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And just briefly, I want to salute all of our veterans that are here. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your words. And thank you, Jose, for doing this as well. My grandfather was an immigrant from Mexico who only earned his citizenship to the United States because he was a sergeant in the United States Army during World War II. Fought in the Philippines, which is one of the reasons I fought so hard for our Filipino veterans as well, to get the benefits that they deserve. But this is a testament not only to the men and women. I mean, I literally would not be here were it not for the service that my grandfather was able to give this country. He got his citizenship, turned his life around, got married, became a barber here in South LA, cut the hair of university professors at SC. Then my dad got a scholarship to go to SC, and then I got to teach at SC and arrive here after that. It's an amazing piece of American history to realize that through the armed services we learn so much, whether it's about self-discipline, whether it's about education, whether it's about career paths and skills that oftentimes would bypass us. We still have, through the military, an incredible American institution. But within that, sometimes we've forgotten to include the Latino voice in the military and the military voice in the Latino community. And this brings those two things together. So thank you for that. God bless you for what you're doing. Know that you have full support in Council District 13. Love to bring you out to some of the community members and so many of our veterans that are coming home right now. I serve in the Navy right now, and I have friends that are in Afghanistan and in Iraq who are coming home as we speak, and a good friend who's leaving. I'm going to see him later this week. They serve this country incredibly well, doing so many different roles, and we need to lift them up and remember them as soon as they get back here, too, because their adjustment back into life is oftentimes a tough one on the civilian side. So thank you for what you do, and thank you, Mr. Huizar, for saluting our veterans.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, first of all, let me thank Councilmember Huizar for his leadership in bringing this to us and for your very inspiring words in introducing this matter. And to all of our veterans who are represented here, thank you for your service. As you were speaking, Jose, I was thinking about a story that I remember growing up. Because, as I think you know, my father was a United States Marine during World War II in the 6th Marine Division who fought on Okinawa. And throughout World War II, the 6th Marine Division earned 4 Medals of Honor. And when I was growing up, I used to look at his Marine Corps book and read the stories of those Medal of Honor winners. And I still remember to this day Private First Class Harold Gonsalves. And Harold Gonsalves was born in Alameda, California, enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1943, and served with my father throughout the Pacific Theater. And my dad used to say that he knew Harold Gonsalves, and my dad, with great sadness, used to say that he got a fair amount of abuse. Because in those days, of course, we didn't have the same commitment to tolerance that we do now. And let's face it, there was a lot of bigotry in the military, and much of it was directed at Harold, according to my dad's stories. But then in April of 1945, Harold was stationed in a forward observation post on Okinawa that came under tremendous fire, tremendous enemy bombardment, and he stood his ground. Eventually, a hand grenade found its way into that forward post, and Harold Gonsalves dove on that hand grenade and saved all of the Marines at that forward post at the cost of his own life. And at that moment, as you said earlier, Jose, there were no Latinos in that forward post, there were no African Americans, there were no white Americans, there were only Marines. Marines who were fighting for their country, and Harold Gonzalez saved their lives at the cost of his own and became one of the 4 Medal of Honor recipients of the division throughout World War II. And what strikes me about this is, first of all, of course, after that, everyone in the division, oh, wasn't Harold a great guy? You know, Harold was such a hero. Before that, not so much. After that, all of a sudden, you know, he's lionized. And so I think we can all remember that, you know, through military service, often stereotypes are broken down. Bigotry begins to become broken down because through your service, you're all Americans, and that challenges, I think, some of the bigotry and assumptions that people have going in. What strikes me about this story so much is that at the very time that Harold Gonzalez enlisted in the Marine Corps, right here in Los Angeles, sailors were beating Mexican Americans, and during the Zoot Suit riots. Throughout the streets of Los Angeles, there were riots where military personnel were beating up on Mexican Americans. And at that moment, Harold Gonzalez decides to go and join the Marine Corps and fight for his country. And so, you know, this story that's being told by this memorial is such a vitally important part of the fabric of America. And, you know, I think we're all, whether Latino or not, all of us are going to benefit from remembering this story, remembering this history, and remembering the tremendous sacrifice and contribution that Latino Americans have made to our country throughout its history, and particularly through your military service. So, Jose, thank you very much for doing this. To all of you, thank you very much for fighting for the beautification of this memorial, and I'm happy to have you in my district anytime. So thank you for that challenge as well.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to salute my brothers. Bless you all. You know, I'm one of the 2 million Americans here in Los Angeles and in the state who are veterans. We're looking at a memorial in Jose's district that Bill Lansford is working on, one of the most decorated and one of the most courageous men. We're going to put some money together and get that memorial going. But most importantly, I want to challenge all of us veterans to support the veterans coming home from the wars now. I've been looking, thank you. I am getting angrier every day when I look at the most recent master plan of the VA property over in my district. We need to build more housing for veterans. 1 out of 4 homeless people in LA County are veterans. And many of them come from my era, from the Vietnam War. And I spent a year as a psychoanalyst seeing 8 or 9 Vietnam vets a day, and I can tell you, as you all can tell everybody, what war means and how it lives with you for the rest of your life. Well, that facility there is not providing enough resources for veterans. It's a national issue, and it is an embarrassment to all of us. So I ask you, Mr. Secretary, as well as all of the veterans here in Los Angeles, take a look at that master plan and get engaged in that issue, because we need more support for our veterans. Now, the young men and women coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, they go back, they go forth, they go back, they go forth. And their disabilities in terms of being in combat are far greater than even my brothers and sisters during Vietnam, because there's no more draft, it's not a general sense, it's just 1% of the people being impacted. And when they come back, they need a gold card of support from all of us. So I just want to salute again all my brothers and sisters, veterans, and we got to continue to fight for our people as we go forward. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Mr. Alarcon.
I too want to thank you for your presentation, Mr. Huizar, and to all the Mexican-American veterans who have served this country, including my father in World War II, 4 years in the Navy. Used to talk about traveling around the world 3 times. Really opened our minds to a different view of the world. After World War II, the soldiers generally came back and provided middle-class opportunities that weren't there for previous generations. My father was able to build 2 houses with a GI Bill, which gave me a very decent life in a very working-class but very clean, nice environment and neighborhood in Sun Valley. And so many of the people from that neighborhood were from World War II and other wars. I agree with Mr. Rosendahl that we have a long way to go to provide services to veterans who are coming back. I know that my son-in-law, who is in Afghanistan as we speak, will come back to very challenging times. And the question is whether our society will stand up to that challenge and provide the kinds of opportunities that my father was able to achieve because of his service, because people respected what he did for all of us to have a free American democracy. And so I want to thank you. And also let me say, as a former California state legislator, I'm familiar with that location, and I don't, even that picture where where it says the memorial's over here and is really far from the building, I can tell you that it's in a very remote location at the state capitol, so anything that you can do to enhance it so that more people will appreciate the contributions of Mexican Americans who have gone to battle for our democracy would be not only greatly appreciated, but I'm happy to support with contributions and help you raise the funds necessary so that it will be much more prominent in its location and more appropriate, I think, given the times. But more than anything else, let it not serve as a memorial to those in the past. Let it serve as a challenge that for those who enter in the future, they will be respected as we respected those soldiers who went to World War II, and we will provide for them and, if the need be, for their families if they are lost. And so thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your continued efforts to raise this issue to prominence, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
I wanted to rise and say thank you for your hard service. Thank you, Councilman Huizar, for bringing them forward. And when you hear the word el soldado, it's the soldier. It's a soldier for all Americans, and for that I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I also offer my congratulations. I'm on the U.S. Army Advisory Board, so we welcome you to come to the San Fernando Valley. I know we have a Veterans Parade, a Memorial Day Parade, and we hope that you will participate with all the great veterans that we have. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here with the other members of the military. Mr. Huizar. Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, and I just want to rise and say this is such a moving discussion that we're all having, and as you can see, everyone has a connection about the military and those who have served, and I certainly want to be supportive in any way I can. I'd like to make a contribution to this cause, and I wanted to give a shout out to, are you a Gold Star mother? Okay, all right, well.
And Ms. Hahn, that retired Lieutenant Colonel serves on the U.S. Army Advisory Board with me. Welcome to City Hall.
Well, but you know what, I got, that's what I was feeling, was for the gold-starred mothers out there, the mothers over the years who really have given the ultimate sacrifice and losing a son or a daughter to the cause of freedom and democracy. So, Colonel, I apologize for mistaking you for a Gold Star mother, but it made me believe that really there are those out here right now who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And for family members right now of those who are serving currently, we know it is a rough journey for them as well, and we want to stand today in support of all family members and all loved ones who have someone who has decided to really put it all on the line for this country and for democracy everywhere. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for this presentation, Councilmember Huizar. It was very moving.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Huizar.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank all of you for your words. And as you can see, here in Los Angeles, we certainly welcome your effort. We support your effort. And as you can see, all the council members are welcoming you to their respective districts to continue this effort to beautify this location, to pay tribute to Latino veterans and all veterans. When I first got elected to this office about 5 years ago, Mike Hernandez, a former council member, brought to my attention an effort that has been undergoing at Placito Vera, the birthplace of the city of Los Angeles, to construct a memorial to the Latino veterans, the Obregon Memorial and All Veterans Memorial. We quickly assembled and fundraised about $10,000 to get that going. We've now constructed Phase 1 and are moving forward to construct Phase 2. And it's a great tribute to see that the birthplace of the city of this great, the birthplace of this great city, we have a memorial that does the same thing that we hope to do in Sacramento. But at this time, Mr. Secretary, and first of all, thank you for being here, and thank you to all the veterans, men and women who are here. We wanted to congratulate you as well on your recent appointment by Governor Jerry Brown to this position, and it's great to see an Angelino there, someone with roots in Los Angeles, to be in this position. We wanted to present to you and all the veterans here today a resolution thanking you for your work, letting you know we're behind you. It's signed by all the council members and the mayor to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, to say we're with you, we're behind you, you're doing great work for not only Latinos, but all Americans. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Our great veterans, United States military. Thank you, Mr. Huizar, and congratulations to our great veterans. Our next presentation from Council District 1, Mr. Ed Reyes.
Council members, this is a special year. I'd like to introduce to you the Wong Tai Sin Lion Dance Troupe. This is Happy Lunar New Year, Gung Hai Fat Choi, 4709, February 2, 2011. Let's give a big round of applause for the Wong Tai Sin Lion Dance Troupe. Gung Hei Fat Choi, San Yi Fai La colleagues, this is the Lunar New Year, 4709, February 2nd, 2011. Continue through Monday, February 14th. This year we celebrate the Year of the Rabbit. According to legend, Buddha asked all the animals to meet him on Chinese New Year. Each of the 12 animals that came first had a year named after them. He categorized that person born within a particular year would have that animal's personality. If you're born the year of the rabbit, according to the Chinese zodiac, you tend to be talented and ambitious. You are virtuous, reserved, and have excellent taste. Rabbit people are admired and trusted. It is said that the rabbit is extremely lucky in business and monetary transactions and great at striking bargains. Angelina Jolie, Benjamin Bratt, Cesar Chavez, Einstein are all examples of people who were born under the Year of the Rabbit. So how many colleagues here are Year of the Rabbit? Any? You're not on our negotiating team, right? Okay. All right. As you know, we celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year annually with residents from all over the city. Part of the tradition has also been to welcome and introduce our new Miss Chinatown and her court to council chambers. So please join me in welcoming the 2011 Miss Chinatown Los Angeles and her court to City Hall. Please join me at the podium. Our Lions dance was a little late, otherwise we would have had a full house for this great presentation. But come on, join me. Sponsored yearly by the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, the Miss Chinatown contest calls for a competition among some of the brightest and inspiring young women. The chosen queen and her court have the honor of representing Chinatown at numerous events in the community, and actually throughout the region, Southern California. Here before us today, we have young women who not only have big dreams, but are all well on their way to achieving them. We are looking at future financial advisors, newscasters, teachers, doctors, and lawyers. These women have graduated from or are attending some of the finest educational institutions, including UCLA, Columbia, Pasadena City College, and USC. Before I introduce the Queen of her Court, well, I said I had to smile on that one, I would like to introduce to you Chester Chong. He's the president of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce here in Los Angeles, the man who helped the Miss Chinatown pageant come alive. Chester, come on up. We'll share a few words.
Thank you, Honorable Councilman Weah. Thank you, all of you, the council member. And we're very proud and stand here and be invited and see everybody and Gong Hei Fat Choi and Happy New Year. And I will do my best in the continued year and service the community and work with the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chester, if I may.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Certificate of our appreciation. Thank you so much, sir.
And, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you, Chester. Thank you so much. I'd also invite, and I'm sure he's here, and thank him, George Yu from the Chinatown Business Improvement District. And George, we have a certificate for you. Mr. Yu?
George, don't be shy. Come on forward.
As Mr. Yu comes on down, I want to thank him. He's been one of the strong voices and one of the pillars in the Chinatown community, working with the Business Investment District, looking at all the different improvements, together with a great support of folks throughout the area. Thank you, George, for your support.
Thank you, Councilman. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Like to share a few words? It's okay.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Sorry for being a bit late. We could not do what we do, any of the BIDs, without the support from our councilmen and the city council in general. So thank you very much.
Thank you, George. And now, I'd like to present the certificates to our Chinatown court. And we'll start with our fourth princess, Alicia Chan. Ms. Chan, just give us a little bit of background about yourself, if you like.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Alicia Chan. I'm the fourth princess for the 2011 Miss Los Angeles Chinatown Court. I'm from Arcadia, California, and I just graduated in May from Scripps College and Columbia University with a major in environmental engineering and a minor in Hispanic studies. Thank you for having us today.
Congratulations. Here you go.
Thank you.
All right. I have to call the third princess, Ashley Fong. Ashley? Share a few words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Fong. I'm the third princess, and I'm currently a student at UCLA studying music for piano performance and music education. Thank you.
The second princess, Jane Shaw.
Hi, my name is Jane Shaw, and I'm the second princess for Miss LA Chinatown. I graduated in June from UCLA with an economics major, and I am now working as a financial analyst at Northrop Grumman. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our first princess, Bingbing Zhao.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bingbing Zhao. I'm currently studying international relations in Pasadena City College, planning transfer to Chairman University this coming fall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now, members of the council, please help me and welcome this year's Miss Los Angeles Chinatown, Queen Shirley Zhang. Round of applause, please.
Good morning, council members. Thank you so much for inviting myself and the court and the Chinese Chamber of Commerce to your meeting today. We're very honored. We would like to today spread the festivities and joy of the Lunar New Year holidays with you. And if you look on your desks, there's a little red box with just a little memento from all of us. We hope that you have a great year in the year of the rabbit. And like the rabbit, may your prosperity grow in leaps and bounds. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And colleagues, we have with us we call it the Little Court, the Little King Theodore Theodore, raise your hand. Are you here? Where are you at? Here's Theodore. The king is literally sleeping. Hey, king.
Okay.
Forgot his crown. We have Little Queen Clarissa Suwoko. Hi, Clarissa. Little Prince Jason Liu. Hello, Jason. And Little Princess Melina Au. Thank you, Melina. Have a wonderful day. Kang Hai Fat Choi. And please visit Chinatown. Great restaurants, great shops. Enjoy the new year.
Mr. Labange.
Mr. Reyes and everyone, Kang Hai Fat Choi, to the community leadership, to the great queens and king and princesses. Ed, you've done a wonderful job, and especially connecting Chinatown again to the rest of the city. I felt very bad last Saturday. I had to be someplace else because I love the invitation every year that I receive to come. And you see all of Los Angeles line the streets along Hill Street and along Broadway. So I just want to thank you for your leadership, especially your work on the State Park there that really has connected a jewel to another jewel in Chinatown.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Yeah, Shay Shay is right, and I just opened up my fortune cookies, and I got to tell you, it says you will be traveling and coming into a fortune is the first one, and the other one says your confidence will lead you on. Well, I'm a rooster, and you can act and see what a rooster's like. Here he is. Every year is a new year, and the year of the rabbit, I happen to have rabbits, and I look at them, and also some folks in Asia also call the cat into the picture. So I'm trying to figure out the cat and the rabbit. I know that my friends in the Japanese community talk about both of them and some of the other communities, but it is a hopeful sign. It is, again, a positive expression of who we are as people. So I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Mr. Reyes.
Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy New Year to all, and thank you.
Come on over here. Sure.
Our next presentation will come from our council president, Mr. Eric Garcetti. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have two presentations here today, one from the 13th Council District and one from the 8th Council District that we'll hear from in just a second for Mr. Parks, and it's a joy to be able to present both of these presentations here today. We passed a resolution in support of a month, an awareness month, earlier in our council meetings. And today we said that we would bring folks here to actually raise awareness, and I'm very pleased to join with Peace Over Violence, one of the most incredible groups anywhere, not just in the city but in this country, to mark Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. You know, years ago my father, it was Christmas time, and I asked my father what he wanted, and he said, I'd like you to donate money to an organization. He was district attorney at the time and had really focused a lot on domestic violence. One of his main focuses as a public servant, raising awareness back when it still was too commonly accepted in our communities. And he focused on an organization that was specifically dealing with the issue of teen dating violence, because while we think of domestic violence as sometimes between adults, so often the cycle of violence gets perpetuated and started at a very young age. Teen dating violence is a serious and growing problem throughout Los Angeles, California, and the nation. Dating, domestic, and sexual violence affect women regardless of their age, and teens and young women are especially vulnerable. It also hits young men. It hits people regardless of their race, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their religion, their sexual orientation. And approximately 1 in 3 adolescent girls in the United States is a victim of physical, emotional, or verbal abuse from their dating partner, a figure that far exceeds victimization rates for other types of violence that are affecting youth. Nationwide, 1 in 10 students, 9.9%, has been hit, slapped, or physically hurt on purpose by a boyfriend or a girlfriend. More than 1 in 4 teenagers have been in a relationship where their partner is verbally abusive. And 20% of teen girls exposed to physical dating violence did not attend school on 1 or more occasions in a 30-day period because they felt unsafe at school. It cuts off their education, it squashes their dreams, and it closes off opportunities. In a recent study, 7% of California high school students indicated they were victims of teenage dating violence. And violent relationships in adolescence can have serious ramifications for victims, putting them at a higher risk for substance abuse, eating disorders, risky sexual behavior, suicide, and adult re-victimization as well. A majority of parents surveyed believe that they had had a conversation with their teen about what it means to be in a healthy relationship, but the majority of teens who were surveyed said that they had never had a conversation about dating abuse with a parent in the last year. The severity of violence among intimate partners has been shown to be greater in cases where the pattern of violence has been established first in adolescence. So primary prevention programs are a key part of addressing teen dating violence. Many successful community examples include education, community outreach, social marketing campaigns that also consider cultural appropriateness, and the establishment of Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month will benefit schools, communities, families, and youth regardless of where they come from. Government and private organizations and public officials, as well as families and youth, must continue to work together to raise awareness of this issue. And the folks that are joining me here today are doing just that. They're making sure that their peers and their communities, their schools, their neighborhoods know about the scourge of teen dating violence. So today, the Los Angeles City Council declares February 2011 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month in the City of Los Angeles. We have a proclamation signed by our entire council and the mayor as well commemorating this. And let's all, through the networks that we have, talk to Peace Over Violence and other groups and make sure that our schools, our young people know that violence from a partner that they are dating is absolutely unacceptable. With that, I'd like to invite forward to give some remarks as well, Trina Green, to say a few words.
Thank you, City Council members. On January 31st, as some of you may know, our President Barack Obama declared a national proclamation of Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and we at Peace Over Violence are delighted and honored and proud to partner with Los Angeles City Council to bring attention to teen dating violence, a very serious issue that affects our teens in our city, in our state, and in our nation. Mr. Garcetti gave a lot of statistics that it is happening, it's ongoing, it's current, and it's happening to students in our schools, and we go into our schools and we work with students, and we know that it's happening. And so
We think that it's important that you guys are signing up and making a proclamation that this issue needs to stop now. And adolescence is a window of opportunity for prevention. It's the perfect time to stop the violence from happening because it's when they're first beginning to start dating. So it's important for us to start talking about relationships, what unhealthy relationships look like, pointing out the warning signs to young people before they start dating. And so we are really happy that you guys have signed up and are making this proclamation of Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month for the City of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'd like to introduce Frank Blaney, who's the Peace Over Violence Director of Youth Leadership Development, to say a few words as well.
One of the things that Peace Over Violence has found in the 40 years that we've been doing this kind of grassroots work is that an issue when it went into classrooms, we were expecting this to be educating young people about an adult problem. But once we got in there, we realized quite soon that this is going on now. This is going on in the lives of middle school youth. This is going on in the lives of high school youth. And the quicker we can cut this off at the pass, the greater the benefits are we're going to reap. One of the other things that we've realized in doing this work is that there's a profound connection between exposure to relationship violence, interpersonal violence, and later involvement with gangs. So that has affected how we do our programming. We've been working with the mayor's office as well as with the city attorney's office in providing training on the connection between domestic violence, interpersonal violence, teen dating violence, and gang violence. We've been providing weekly programming at Homeboy Industries with gender-specific groups, working with the young men there, working with the young women. And one of the things I've realized as I've led those groups with the young men is that once I developed a rapport with these young people, I'd ask them a question. I'd say, how many of you, when you were growing up in the homes that you grew up in, how many of you were exposed to domestic violence? And then we've been doing this for almost 4 years. Yet I have yet to see one young man that has not raised his hand. And so one of the things that we realized is that the foresight of Councilman Garcetti and the council here is so important in trying to, get our collective will together to try and put a stop to this. A very important program that we've been doing is My Strength, which is a gender-specific violence prevention program for males in relationship violence. Another critical one we've been doing is called Be Strong, a female empowerment group. We've been doing these at LA Unified for quite a few years, and we actually have a couple of graduates of these programs, James Campos, who now, thank God, works as a youth educator for us, and actually Tom LaBonge came many years ago to the kickoff at Marshall High School for the My Strength program. And then I'll let you introduce her. No, okay. Please do.
All right. Thank you very much, Frank. Next, we're going to hear from one of our youth leaders, Michael Crumble, who is at West LA and who's been a great leader at Peace Over Violence, to say a few words as well. Please welcome Michael.
Good morning. I am a student at West LA, and I was a recent graduate of Maine Arts High School, where I was a part of Peace Over Violence Be Strong program since I was a freshman. So Be Strong has left a positive impact in my life, I can say that. I have learned to be a youth leader. I have learned that it's okay to speak up and have a voice. I am now a first-generation college student, and most of all, here I stand a teen leader preventing teen dating violence. So recently we had a conference on February 4th at the California Endowment Center. Most of the teens in attendance were middle school students. During our youth engagement session, I met two bright girls named Nayeli and Arceli. Our group presentation topic was public speaking. So during our group engagement, we asked the girls to write a speech on why teen dating violence is important to them and how they as teens can prevent it. Their response was, if you learn everything there is to know about teen dating violence, you will be able to prevent it. So now we question ourselves, when is it too early to discuss such a sensitive topic? I believe it is a great idea to implement teen dating violence programs into middle schools. Whether we want to accept it or not, but many middle school students are already dating. They're already very mature for their age, especially in urban communities. A lot of teens are unaware of teen dating violence. They may even are experiencing dating violence without being aware they're in a harmful situation. So there are many ways to try and stop teen dating violence, but how can we prevent it? One way is to educate our teens so they can know the signs before it get out of hand.
Many adults think there are programs out there to help teens, but we ask ourselves, are they really helping? Programs discussing teen dating violence will spark teen interest. Why? The answer is because many teens know someone or have experienced firsthand teen dating violence. Even if they attend class and never speak a word or participate, they usually are the ones experiencing firsthand and scared to break the silence. We must start educating teens as early as we can. Teen dating violence will always exist, but we will make a difference with the statistics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So on behalf of the City Council, I'd like to present to Peace Over Violence, and really to all of Los Angeles, this certificate commemorating Teen Violence Awareness and Prevention, Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, and thank you all for your part in breaking this cycle. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Mr. Garcetti, thank you. Okay, come on up to the mics again, folks.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes. Okay. I'm up. This is the fourth time I'm standing up this morning. I normally don't do all this pomp and circumstance stuff, but each one was extremely compelling. As an openly gay man, I can tell you the harassment continues and the bullying continues towards my people. You know, kids are kids, and they're growing up, and they're exploring each other, they're exploring life in general. But more and more we see that the fact that gay people who don't choose to be gay, they don't prefer to be gay, it isn't a religious anything, it's their nature, comes from nature. They're more honest and open than I was. I didn't come out until I was 32 years old. I dare not come out earlier. I would have not have been able to do this job or that job. I was thrown out of things. We are still discriminated around the planet. In some places they stone us and they kill us when they find out who we are. Like Uganda the other day published 100 names of gay people to kill them, to kill us right now in this day and age. So I really appreciate your leadership on dealing with that issue. The greatest suicide rate are among gay and lesbian young people. How do I fit into this world? Where do I go? So the fact that you're sensitive to that and to the fact that you're dealing with that issue, I want to thank you very much. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcetti. And Mr. Garcetti with the second presentation representing Councilmember Parks from Council District 8.
Thank you. It's my joy to really present a very special presentation on behalf of Councilmember Bernard Parks here today for a very special artist serving this incredible community, not just here in Los Angeles, but a world-renowned artist as well. Critically acclaimed artist Charles Bibbs has been named the official artist for the Leimert Park Village Book Fair. And today he's going to be unveiling one of his newest pieces in celebration of the 5th anniversary of Leimert Park Village Book Fair titled The Reader. We all know the importance of language and culture in our society, and in our city, and in our world. We know what a difference it means when a young child picks up a book, when they can go to a public library and they can enrich their lives. We know what it means for a senior or an adult who knows that learning is a lifelong undertaking. And Charles Bibbs has created an incredible work here today that we are unveiling here in Los Angeles City Hall. Quite an honor for us today. Charles Bibbs' work display a unique, strong, and stylized quality. Collected by famous art collectors around the world throughout the city. Bernard Kinsey, who's a dear friend of ours and is in some ways the collector of collectors, has his works and has shown me them in his home before. They've done an extraordinary combination of abstract and realistic interpretations of contemporary subjects that are beautifully fused into a multifaceted ethnicity, larger-than-life images. This is somebody who decided after he had other work that he was doing in 25 years as an executive that this was his passion. And he turned himself to the art today that makes the difference for each one of us. When you see it, you will know. It's not unveiled yet. I just want to make sure you know what I'm talking about. His technique can be distinguished from most artists by the way that he combines acrylics and inks to obtain a rich undertones of texture. He's a recipient of numerous awards. He has been praised throughout the arts and culture community and honors, including Entrepreneur of the Year Award from the African American Chamber of Commerce, United Negro College Foundation Honoree Award, an NAACP Freedom Community Award, and we're so excited to have the association coming to Los Angeles for its national convention this year, a Save the Arts Award, and Riverside's Finest Award. He's also been a recipient of Key to the City Award in major cities around the United States, and I'm sure we would give him one here in Los Angeles, but the rule is for visitors to the city. So he can get as many from around the world. You know, we can find you one maybe from West Hollywood or Beverly Hills, but I'm sure if we could, we would give you a key to the city, too. And maybe we'll just tell the mayor anyway, you know. The Leimert Park Book Village Fair will be held on Saturday, June 25th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On the Vision Theater backlot located 43rd and Degnan Boulevard. It's part of the celebration for African American Heritage Month, kind of extended out into the summer, because, as Mr. Weston said, it's the shortest month of the year, so we're making it longer by taking it into June. Producers will be bringing an interesting mix of authors, poets, spoken word artists with entertainment and television personalities, and merging the two worlds of literary entertainment to offer an eclectic mix of literature, art, music, and fashion, and of course there's always good food there too. But with that, I'd like to present the artist of whom I've been speaking, a man who's going to unveil his work here before us today. Please give a warm Los Angeles City Council welcome to Charles Bibbs.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't want to bore anybody, but I want to start off by saying that I just celebrated my 42nd wedding anniversary. Wow. Here's my wife, Elaine.
Come on, Elaine.
Yeah? Uh-huh. There she is. Okay. Now, I live in Riverside, but just in case you didn't know.
So you can get the key.
Yeah, I can get a key.
Okay.
Give me a key. But anyway, I was born in San Pedro, raised in Harbor City.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm a proud Angeleo. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm just so proud and so happy to be an artist. I've been blessed with this wonderful gift, and the good thing about it that I can share with everybody. And there's one thing that a lot of people can't say is that they do something for a living that they can just have fun at it. And I want to tell you right now, I just love what I do. And I love making people happy, and I love the process of giving. And I've learned the value of giving. So that's what makes my life so worth doing what I do, is just giving what God has given me to give to the world. And this piece I did for Leimert Park Book Fair was a labor of love for children. And we're trying to instill the importance of reading. And reading can take you on voyages, can take you places that, you know, rather than sitting in front of a TV screen or a computer, okay, get a book and read a book. We got to instill the importance of reading books. In this technological age, we're getting away from that. And I think we need to bring that back. It's a powerful tool for our children. So that's why I did the reader. This is the second part of a two-part series of pieces that I've done all about reading.
Before you unveil, Mr. Wesson, another speaker? Okay, two more and then Mr. Wesson. Before you unveil, okay.
Just hold tight.
Good morning. My name is Billy Frierson from the California Librarians Black Caucus, and on behalf of the Leimert Park Village Book Fair and our executive director and founder, Ms. Cynthia Exum, we would like to thank Councilman Parks and the entire Honorable City Council for their support of the Leimert Park Village Book Fair. We are in the business of promoting literacy, encouraging reading, promoting local library use. We are also giving at the book fair an opportunity for the children ages 2 to 99 to come out and get close and personal to more than 100 authors and honorable artists that will be in residence with us on that day, Mr. Charles Bibbs. Say your name.
Hi, I'm Walisa Bennett, the official spokesperson for the Leimert Park Book Fair.
we are so excited to be in front of you to reveal the reader. But before we do that, I just want to commend our executive director, Cynthia Exum. She started this book fair 5 years ago out of her own pocket. No sponsors. And here we are 5 years standing in front of you today with a very celebrated artist that we are thrilled when we asked for him to be our artist for the Leimert Park Book Fair. He didn't hesitate, or did you? He didn't hesitate to create an image that would represent Leimert Park Book Fair and that would celebrate literacy, not only for the African American community, but for all communities, because we know that the United States is lagging behind when it comes to education. So this time, this day, we would like to unveil the reader.
All right, well, hold on. Mr. Weston, I think, you want to do it first? Okay, all right, let's do the unveiling then.
Okay.
Come on over here, go ahead. There you go. Come on over there.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Wesson? Mr. Herbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Bibbs, in fact, I'll let you take the photograph. Go on, Betsy.
It's pretty.
It's gorgeous. Okay, Brother Bibbs, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you on being named the official artist of the Leimert Park Book Fair. And you've got a dear buddy of mine standing to your right that I've known for quite a long time. And many of us here love what we do as well. We can't wait to wake up in the morning to go to work and to do the job that we were called to do. But we were trained to do this job. I don't believe that a true artist is trained. It is a gift. It is a gift that's discovered in many different ways. And you should know that in the district that I represent, we have a small cultural arts facility, the William Grant Still Art Facility, which was on the list of city closures. But the community, led by Miriam and her husband, Cecil, and others, were able to help me persuade the city to take that facility off the list, because artists are discovered at facilities like that. And that's why it's so important that in order for us to be a complete society, that we have to realize the importance of balance, the importance of art, the importance of reading. And that is a magnificent piece of work. I congratulate you, sir. And Miriam, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Ms. Jan Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to say congratulations and looking forward to the book festival. And Mr. Bibbs, your art is an inspiration, and it's that simple act of opening the doors to your own creativity, whether it is through art or through reading or sharing the spoken word, that you can just transform people's lives. I just left John Adams Middle School, where they were honoring a principal who'd passed away, and he'd left a really incredible legacy to the kids. But what was really amazing is the words that he left, that they had written on the wall and repeated what he said, and it still continued to resonate with them even though he was gone. So I think that's why it's so significant that you continue to create and that we continue to promote literacy through community gatherings such as this one. We're very fortunate, and Mr. Parks is extremely fortunate to have Leimert Park in his district, and I know that he has worked extensively with you to make sure this comes to pass and that it will be a joyous occasion, and I think we're all looking forward to sharing that with all of you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Mr. Garcetti.
Much, Mr. President, and just briefly, the words that were said about libraries, and this isn't not campaigning, Mr. City Attorney, it's a point of information that March 8th there happens to be Measure L on the ballot. Regardless of how you vote on it, it does look at our libraries, so make sure you get out there and vote, the importance of doing that. But also, I think we all want to celebrate, and Mr. Parks, the work that he has done in Leimert Park has been extraordinary, and the partnerships that he has had, this would not be possible without him. I know he wanted to be here very badly today, but he did leave for you, Charles, this incredible framed resolution on behalf of the people of Los Angeles, signed by all of us here in the City Council. It is our piece of art. We actually have artists who make this possible here to commemorate great individuals who have affected our city in tremendous and profound ways. So we thank you. And looking at that, I'm reminded of Gustav Klimt's The Kiss, and the mystery that is in that piece is evoked here, but also a completely unique incarnation as well. And it takes me back to the mystery of what it's like when you open up a book, and it just captures our heart. I know will capture the heart of the city. So congratulations. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
Congratulations, Mr.
We'll see you at the book fair.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our final presentation will be Mr. Wesson. Our final presentation from Mr. Herb Wesson.
This one from my desk.
Very well. From Mr. Wesson's desk on his presentation. A dog named Spot.
Anyway, thank you, Mr. President and members. Today is Pet Adoption Friday, and my little furry visitor got here just a little bit late because it was my plan to present her to one of the honorees for African American History Month. I figured I could guilt one of them into adopting Darlene. Oh, you should have been here, Krikorian, and I don't think, Mr. Koretz, you were here either. We had a new consul general from Mexico. And so we honored him here, and then I rose and said, and as is our custom, I'm going to give, and I did, and I paid for the dog, and I said, and this, this dog is for you. And when I heard his wife say, oh, God, he's so... Anyway, so that's what I was going to do this morning. But what I have is a 4-month-old terrier mix named Darlene that has all of her shots, 4 months old, and she's ready to go. So in order to maintain my 100% adoption rate, I'm going to have to count on our employees that are watching this on television, our employees that are listening to this while they're sitting at their desk, to the residents of this city that are watching this on Channel 35. This is a gorgeous little girl who's not going to get much bigger than she is today. She is looking for a home, and if you want unconditional love, I have a feeling that Darlene is going to be able to provide it for you. So I'm asking everyone that can hear me, anyone that can see Darlene, let us find her a home today. Let her go home with a family today. Let her keep your mother company, soon to be Congresswoman Janice Hahn. Anybody who would like, look at that. Now she's waking up. She's a real sweetheart. So again, city employees, don't let me down. We have the 100% adoption rate. The phone number is being displayed on the television screen. So let's please, we'll ask the Animal Services person to stay around for a little bit, come down, look at her. She's really mellow and looking for a home. And Mr. Weezer, I understand that you have a special event tomorrow that you're sponsoring along with Council President Garcetti. Are you going to announce that? So I will... Well, anyway, Mr. Weezer, I really have to commend you, in fact, all of you, for taking such an interest in finding homes for dogs and cats. And tomorrow, my dear friend and colleague, Council Member Jose Weezer, Council President Eric Garcetti, are having an Adopt a Valentine Pet Day. And it's from 11 to 4 at the North Central Animal Shelter, which is at 3201 Lacey. For the first 25 people that are there to adopt a dog or a cat, hear me now, you get a $25 discount. So that's a significant saving. Plus, if you have other animals and those animals need to be microchipped, you can get that done at the low cost of $25. So I want to commend Councilmember Weezer and Council President Eric Garcetti, and I want to ask all who's looking and listening, please come on down and take this little woo-woo home with you today. She's looking for a home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. That completes our presentations for today. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, back to the agenda. The first items on the agenda, items 1 through 3, are items for which public hearings have been held. On item 1, there is a request to continue that matter to Tuesday, February 15th.
Without opposition, continued 1 to February 15th.
And there is a request to send item 3 back to the Transportation Committee.
Without opposition, 3 back to Transportation.
That does leave now item 2 before council.
Number 2. No cards on number 2. Anyone want to call 2 special? Seeing none. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next items, please.
Items 4 through 7 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
4 through 7. Any cards?
There are cards on 5, 6, and 7.
We'll call 5, 6, and 7 special.
Which does leave item 4.
Colleagues, any special on number 4? Seeing none. On number 4, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That's approved.
On the continuation agenda, item 8 is an item for which public hearing has been held.
Number 8, Mr. Weezer.
8 special, please.
8 special for Mr. Weezer. 8 will be special. And let me see if we have any cards on number 8. You said we did have a public hearing on 8?
Yes, 8 has had a public hearing.
Okay, there's no cards anyway. All right, special meeting at 10:15. We're way past that, so let's go to the special.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 12 members present and a quorum is present. It is a one-item agenda. Item 9 is an item for which public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration, and there is a card on that.
Okay, let's call that special number.
And since council is now in the special meeting, they will have to take that up at this time.
So we'll do that now. Number 9. We have one card on number 9. Arnold Sachs, number 9.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Arnold Sachs. This is a great event, but what's really great about this is the cost associated with it, $759,998. Imagine if the Transportation Committee hadn't acted regarding the fees that were given, the fee waiver that was given to LA Live and AEG for all the events that they held at Staples Center and LA Live a couple years ago because they were running short on overtime. this would have been $759,998.47 that would have cost the public. So let's flash forward to the new AEG Stadium that will not cost the public one penny. But how about to operate said stadium when there's 60,000 fans descending on LA, or more for a soccer game, or more for a Final Four? Will these costs, which is chump change compared to what it will be to run the stadium, will these costs be incurred by the city, or will these costs be picked up as part of the value for the stadium that is going to be built by AEG? This is something that needs to be talked about as part of the ad hoc committee. Why not? Really, moving on this permit for $759,998 the week before the event shows a lot of foresight. Thank you for your time, answers, and attention.
Thank you. On that matter, for clarification, the Board of Public Works reports that execution of the contract will result in recovery of $759,998.47 in city costs associated with the event and activities of the NBA Entertainment, and eliminate the impact to the general fund. On that matter, seeing no one in the queue, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That's approved. Forthwith. All right.
Mr. President, do you wish to adjourn the special meeting and go back to the regular?
Yes, and we'll pick up those items that we have public comments on. The numbers again?
You still have general public comment before you, and items 5, 6, 7, and 8 were all called special.
Okay.
5, 6, 7 by cards from the public.
Oh, let's do 5, 6, and 7, and then we'll do public comment. Mr. Wayne in the Valley. Mr. Wayne in the Valley. Number 5.
All right, thank you. We have the $8.2 million, and the name on it is CRA. So we know what that means. It's another attempt to go forward with the CRA money before Governor Brown does anything in regards to the CRA and what the disposition of those funds are going to be and what the situation with the CRA is going to be after he gets done with the budgetary issues. We have $1.8 million for the Bunker Hill replacement housing. There was a councilman who used to represent out here in the valley, Ernani Bernardi, and he had sued the city to cap it at $700 million a long time ago, because when he was alive, he actually got them to agree with the city that he'd have to personally agree to raise the cap. Well, he's been deceased now for a while, so why not give them another $2 million? And then we have all this other nice money for bond counsel. How about 0.1%, known as 10 basis points? That's a term of art. For the bond closing issuance fees and the amount of $50,000 and 10 basis points per annum. That means per year for the outstanding amount bonds. So somebody, once again, makes a ton of money. Are these consultants in the city of Los Angeles, or are they like the many contractors that are based outside the city in the county of Los Angeles? And the Housing, Community, and Economic Development Committee, they waive consideration. Community impact statement, none was submitted. Fiscal impact statement, of course, Christine Essel says there's no negative impact on the city's general fund. Well, of course not, because the money's already been taken from the homeowners and impounded into this account. You'll vote yes, but let it be known it's wrong. Thank you.
And so it is.
Number 5, Wade Arnold Sachs. Number 5.
Thank you again. Arnold Sachs, today's LA Times. City planners approve South LA project. $9.5 million in concessions for this project. It's going to be, the developers agreed to provide living wage jobs, which exceed minimum wage positions. But living wage jobs, is that the CRA living wage minimum? Is that the same minimum CRA living wage that's incurred at the airport? No, it's not incurred at the airport. That's a different level than this living wage in the rest of the city. And the living wage jobs, that makes this not a construction site that would be involved with the PLA agreements that you just, the project labor agreements that you just had in the chambers, because this is living wage and not prevailing wage. So, whoop-de-doo for the people in that area. You're going to make $11, you're not going to have any health insurance. Before you go to work, stop at your local emergency room and pick up a number, because if you get hurt, by the time they get you your number, you'll be ready to be seen. It's absolutely ridiculous, a living wage ordinance that's incurred in the city. Additionally, this project, $9.5 million, right? Mayor said he had $930 million. Actually, it's more than that, but that's 1% of the CRA funds, but that's not even included. This isn't money that's included in the $930 million, because this project would have been how long on the burners to get this project together. The good news is it's on the expo line. So you're wondering what kind of tail wagging the dog went on there, because the involvement with the expo line and waiting for that to be built and waiting for all the construction to go through and the infrastructure. Thank you.
Mr. Sachs, stay there because you're going to be next up on number 6.
I'll stay
Mr.
here.
Clerk,
Thank you,
let's go
sir.
to number 6. Arnold Sachs, item number 6.
Yeah, item number 6, thank you. Item number 6, this is a consideration of a resolution. The magic funding is here. Part A, the last line. These funds, which are expended at the local government level to serve disadvantaged communities and help grow local economies and create jobs. That's the magic phrase in this one. Let's see. CRA. Again, more funding that was going to create jobs and expand the economy. How's that working out? Well, have you heard the Economic Committee, ad hoc committee today? There's a shortage of workers, so we can't spend the money now that we have the money. But before we didn't have the money, we had plenty of workers. The ARA fundings, well, we have policies that we didn't understand, so we couldn't apply for the funding. And once we got the funding, we had to jump through so many hoops that we couldn't get the jobs together. So what's the holdup going to be on this one? And the CRA? Well, they got the money, but they don't include graffiti removal, $7 million for graffiti removal. They're building sidewalks and streets in certain areas, but not in all areas. Not in all the areas where the CRA is located. So, good thing we have elected officials communicating, who have been elected, who are in office for the most part, a good proportion of them on their third and final term. Because otherwise, you'd really be behind the 8 ball with trying to understand all the rules and regulations that nobody else understands. Thank you.
Let's go to the Valley, number 6. Wayne on number 6.
Yes. It's nice to see a city this large down to just 2 people to comment on this stuff. That's the great part about it, isn't it? More money under these initials, CB, CDBG, and, how about BS? That's what it is. That's what it is. It's, you got a new Congress. Now, the rest of the country was smart enough to put a new majority in the House, so that's 50-50 there on everything, and the Congress is going to consider this. So you're urging the President and the administration to propose full funding, but Obama has stated, of course, now that the elections have been held in the House and 60 new members were put in the House, that maybe funding local government waste is actually wrong. And that's amazing for him to say that, because he was a community activist, and community activists understand that taxpayers you have two kinds of taxpayers. You have property taxpayers and business taxpayers. The business taxpayer, he just gets up and he can leave. The property tax owner, on the other hand, he's just stuck in the mud. And in the end, all of this crap winds up being on the backs of the property owners. And it's federal money, it's still tax money. You have enough waste, you have enough fraud and abuse with all of the CRA projects going on, and now you want to put money for the so-called disadvantaged communities. I'm in Van Nuys right now. This is a very disadvantaged community. You go down the streets, businesses are shuttered. Go up north to Panorama City, where of course, Alarcon lives in Panorama City. Wink, wink. And there's a lot of things going on there that are bad. So why continue these fundings? Don't continue any more fundings. Say no.
All right, that's number 6 completed. Let's go to number 7, stay in the valley. Number 7, Wayne, number 7.
Number 7.
We got 1 minute left.
Yeah, that's good. Well, 1 minute to go. We have a reward. Now, they're going to reinstate the reward here. Why are we giving all these rewards out for all these various crimes? This goes back into 2009, 2010, and they want to extend it 6 months. I mean, it's almost been a year and a half. No one's come forward. And there's been many of these motions. Usually, the other day there was a special called on another one of these bonds for these reward requests. As tragic as it is, allowing the city to keep offering rewards for every crime is just not going to do it. The money is needed for the general fund. I say, don't do it. Just put it into the general fund and do police work. We have a police department for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's completion of number 7. So, colleagues, let's go to number 5. Anyone have any comment on number 5? On number 5, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And number 6, there's an amendment coming on that, so we're going to hold number 6 for the amendment. Let's go to number 7. Any comment? Any colleagues have any comment on number 7? On number 7, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right. Mr. Weezer, you called number 8 special.
Yes, Mr. President, just wanted to bring everyone's attention some of the good work that the City of Los Angeles is doing to prevent the health effects of secondhand smoke. As we all know, the City of Los Angeles has been in the forefront of controlling the effects of smoke on Angelenos, and I want to thank Council Members Smith and Parks for taking the initiative and sponsoring this motion that's before us today, now an ordinance. It will coordinate the city and county in informing city businesses and cities banning outdoor smoking. We know that tobacco smoke is the nation's leading cause of preventable death, and exposure to secondhand smoke causes approximately 50,000 deaths per year. We have done a lot, and this is yet another step to ensure that we take a hold of this problem. In the 80s, many of the restaurants fought back on the efforts to curb smoking. Thankfully, with the education efforts, we won that battle, and this is another step in making sure that we protect our residents from the ill effects of secondhand smoke. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Weezer. And on number 8, colleagues, Mr. LaBonge.
Chairman of the Arts Health Aging Committee, which pushed this through, call for the question.
Thank you, Mr. LaBonge. On number 8, colleagues, open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Very well. On number 5, forthwith on number 5. Did you want 8 forthwith, Mr. LaBonge? Forthwith for Mr. LaBonge, number 8. And Mr. Clerk, now we are going to go to, we're still holding number 3 for amendment? Number 6?
Item number 6.
Okay, let's go to public comment. Bobby Cooper. Bobby Cooper. It's public comment. You have 2 minutes to speak on an item not on the agenda. Is Mr. Bobby Cooper in chambers? Are you Bobby Cooper in the back? Bobby Cooper. I don't see Bobby Cooper here. Matthew Schubert. Matthew Schubert. 2 minutes, sir.
Hello. Today, I speak for a brave, strong, also compassionate group of people who have remained productive during these most unreasonable disturbances. For words of encouragement to these citizens who must remain effective in this powerful yet improved reform for the better of these welfare concerns. This comment is the most insightful outlook to my extreme compassionate faith in becoming a powerful leader over the city according to the current support which will be enforced. Thank you for this opportunity to stand up and to help. Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Green.
Good morning. I was here last Friday and had some issues and concern, and I found a solution, which I've been working on for a while. I signed up with Barbara Boxer's office here in Los Angeles for an internship while I'm working on my master's in political science. I have several issues to address. It's a spiritual warfare situation that I've been in. 4 generations of my family has been separated, and even as I speak, I'm enslaved by these people. I'm not as strong as I need to be, but I need power and authority, and to be off the stronghold of having that position to take authority to take care of these people in the situation and put them in their place in the dark and get it off of me and my daughters, my birth family, and my grandchildren, which are in separate places by these people. I need the power and authority, and that's what I need. And I need to be called for that position to take my place as a citizen to protect myself. I'm stronghold against it. Do you understand? Hello? President?
Ma'am, this is your comments, so there's no dialogue. It's your comments. Public comment is you make a comment, and it's not a dialogue.
I made a comment, and I'm also making an order.
It's not a debate.
Huh?
It's not a debate. We don't communicate back and forth.
Okay.
So if you need some help, someone from the council will assist you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sergeant Arms, if you can please assist this lady. Sergeant Arms. Where do you live, ma'am?
I stay 1010 West 108th Street in Los Angeles off of Vermont.
West 8th?
108th?
108?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's Ms. Hahn's staff will assist you. Thank you. Arnold Sachs.
Thank you again, Arnold Sachs. Some fascinating meetings coming up in the coming week. MTA is having hearings on service reduction. And what's interesting about these meetings, according to the agenda, as you say, Mr. President, public comment is for items not on the agenda, except at the MTA meetings. Public comment will only be taken on service reductions. Fascinating how you call that public comment. Back to AEG for a quick moment. Concerns about costing the city money? I don't know. A $1 lease for that kind of property, you're already in the hole about $100, $200, $300 million. But it's not going to cost any money. You can be sure the ad hoc committee will be looking at that. Councilman Garcetti, I can't believe you mentioned, that's David Freeman and his concerns about pension. Would you kindly ask Mr. Freeman what his concerns are regarding spiking of public pensions? There was a story in the LA Times about a water commissioner in San Francisco, around San Francisco, who got an additional $100,000 on his pension because he turned in his unused vacation time. I don't know that that happens in private business, but it sure happens a lot in pensions related to government service. Maybe Mr. Freeman has concerns on that. And by the way, Willie Sutton once said he robbed banks because that's where the money was. he didn't know about public pensions. Thank you for your time, answers, and attention.
Armenek Nordjanian. And after this, we'll go to the San Fernando Valley for 2 speakers. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Respectable City Council members, fellow Angelinos, actually, my name is Armenek Nordjanian. I'm a liberal writing candidate for the office of City Council from District 8, actually, and I want actually pay attention to the problem of city budget deficit, which reached about $400 million, according to Los Angeles Sentinel report. But actually, I propose to raise those taxes against wealthy individuals who make more than $60,000 individually, and also to raise those taxes about 40%, and also raise taxes against wealthy businesses like oil corporations and gasoline selling corporations, but actually raise taxes for those business licenses, for those wealthy corporations, and actually redistribute that those revenues, to poor and destitute part of your constituencies who need those housing vouchers to pay for their housing. Thousands of Angelinos are signed up for Section 8 public rental assistance subsidies, but wait for them about 4 years, up to 4 years, and cannot get those without effort on part of the city government in order to collect revenues and redistribute them to poor Angelino constituencies. Most businesses will come into, into decay because, we don't see political social justice, we don't see expedited distribution of housing vouchers, and that's a serious problem.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to the San Fernando Valley. Frank Sheftel.
He wasn't here.
Frank Sheftel in there?
No.
Pardon me?
No.
Okay, Wayne, then you're up.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. There was a report in the news yesterday that Carmen Trutanich is going to prosecute demonstrators for blocking traffic while exercising their First Amendment rights. And, this man, I don't know what happened to Carmen Trutanich. I helped campaign for him. We were on the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Sepulveda the day of the election. People, poor Latino people, got together, volunteered, held up signs for him on the street. And police were coming up and saying, that violates the city's policy, and then we said, well, it's a First Amendment right, and they let it go. So now that he's the city attorney and he's given his friend Kurt Livesay $400,000 on a 2-year contract, and next year he's going to extend it for another $200,000 for a consulting contract for a bankrupt city. Now, when the peasants are going to demonstrate and put their foot out in the street, he's immediately going to have them arrested. Now he wants to prosecute them for the time that was expended for people in traffic. This is a man he's completely done a 180 on everything. He campaigned as a reformer. What he's done, he's put his name on a stamp, and everybody that was there under Rocky stamps the same thing. He's told to draft an ordinance that violates the Mello-Roos Act to let homeowners be responsible for tree damage before they had entered their escrow on their properties, decades before. He's going to do it. And he spent one day, the day after he came into the council chambers, he got all upset about AEG. He actually took a public comment card that day, and he hasn't been seen since. So this is another outrageous discrimination against people. If people want to demonstrate, let them demonstrate. If you want to clear people out of the street, you have an LA Police Department. But you know why they don't do it? Because the same Carmen Trutanich tells them not to touch anybody, or the city will be sued for excessive force. Thank you.
That closes our public comment. Mr. Clerk? We have two items, I understand, 6 and a reconsideration.
Yes, Mr. President, on item 6, a substitute resolution has now been circulated to all members.
Okay, number 6, colleagues. Any comments on number 6? Seeing none, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Forthwith on number 6, thank you, Mr. Rosendahl. And the reconsideration, Mr. Clerk.
And, Mr. President, there is a request to reconsider item 30 from Wednesday's meeting. That is Council File 11-0065.
On the reconsideration, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Matter is now up for discussion.
And the motion has been circulated to make a technical correction to change it from the Bureau of Street Services to the Bureau of Engineering.
Mr. Wesson.
Before we deal with this issue, Mr. Garcetti, would it be appropriate for me to rise to inform everyone that our little puppy, and he tells me rise, all right, thank you, Alec. There's always one.
That would not be appropriate, but go ahead.
But anyway, Darlene has been adopted.
Very well.
By Youssef Rob of Council President Garcetti's office. So you're a brand new uncle.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. You keep on batting 100% on those. So we're back on this matter. Ms. Perry, this was your item?
Yeah, it's just a simple correction, changing the name of, I think, Street Services to
Engineering.
Engineering Department, so it's just a technical correction.
Okay. All right, colleagues, on that matter, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Very well. Mr. Clerk.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Weezer, request be excused March 9th, 22nd, and 23rd for city business. That meets council policy.
That's approved.
Councilmember Garcetti, request be excused April 20th for personal business. That meets council policy.
That is approved.
That clears the desk.
Announcements, colleagues. Announcements. Mr. Rosendahl.
Yeah, I just want to continue, like all of us have, who are connected to what's going on in the Middle East, to be extremely excited and positive about the beginnings of a democracy in Egypt. It was absolutely, for me this morning, I was weeping a little bit when I just saw the energy of the people of Egypt wanting their basic human and civil rights that we as Americans take for granted. It's a great day in the planet today that the Egyptian people, some 85 million of them, are on the path to democracy. God bless the Egyptian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow evening, I'll be hosting the first annual Los Angeles Student Media Festival, which is a media festival for high school students throughout Los Angeles. 3 years ago, when I was in the Assembly, I started the High School Film Festival, which has now gone citywide, and this year we've received more than 100 submissions from high school students throughout the city of Los Angeles, from Verdugo Hills High in the north to San Pedro High in the south, and all points in between. The final 26 films, the finalists, short films, will be shown at the Beaudry Theater, 1201 West 5th Street in downtown Los Angeles. There's a reception beginning at 4 o'clock, and the show begins at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. It's open to the public. It's free, and it's always a great way to highlight the terrific work that our creative work that our high school students and the next generation of Los Angeles filmmakers are doing. For more information, people can call my office or visit lasmf.lacity.org.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Any other announcements, colleagues? On Sunday, it is Super Sunday, and for our Jewish community, Jewish Federation will be doing a fundraising, so you may receive a call from the Jewish Federation, many satellite facilities throughout the city on Super Sunday. And don't forget, Monday is Valentine's Day. Seeing no other announcements, please stand. Adjourning motions. Please stand for adjourning motions. Mr. LaBonge.
Yeah, members, I'd like to ask we adjourn in memory, and I don't recall if we did, for Jim Wixler from Water and Power, who passed last year, but I wanted to that we remember him. He was a tremendous man on the water side, ran the water system, the head of that system, did many great things over his 40-year career. He was also an advocate for water He's survived by his wife Mary and daughter Sherry and son-in-law Steve, Jim Witzker, who passed last year. Also earlier this year, Doris Blackburn Nunez, who is known throughout the historical societies of Los Angeles, a wonderful Los Feliz resident, a great teacher, educator. I ask we adjourn in his memory. He is survived by his longtime partner, Peter Malk, and many, many, many close friends.
Thank you very much. Are there adjourning motions on this side? Seeing none, Mr. Rosendahl, and then Mr. Zine.
Tina Hackerman just passed away, who was the past president and longtime board member of the Westchester Vitalization Board. She just died in the hospital this weekend, complications from an angioplasty. Tina was one of the drivers who pushed for the creation of the Westchester Player Neighborhood Council. She spent several years on the Westchester Vitalization as president and was manager of the Kentwood Guardians. Tina's resignation from the Westwood Vitalization Board was just recently because of her health reasons. Tina served on the board for a long time, and she served in different leadership positions. She's survived by 3 adult sons. And I just talked to Ellie Holmes, who was one of her closest friends, and she also wanted to add that she was an active parent. She was president of the PTA at Kentwood Elementary. She was a major player at the Orville Wrights Middle School when her kids were going there, and the Westchester High School. Always the go-to person for all things in Westchester. She was always willing to help anyone who needed something. Services for Tina will be held this Sunday, February 13th, at the Hillside Cemetery on Centinela at 10 a.m. She was a great lady. She was a total activist, involved in everything in the community. We loved her dearly, and we're going to miss her.
Thank you very much.
I have another adjourning motion, Mr. President. You all might remember when we were fighting real hard to put the human remains of the characters of the Indian tribes into the ground. And one of the major players, and I got a call from his uncle, who's been the lead, Stephen Dermany, died. He was born in Santa Monica, September 9th, 1955, and passed away on February 4th, 2011, in Anaheim, California. He died of cancer. He was 56 years old. Stephen was the first son of the late Richard Dermany and the oldest grandson of the late Ricardo Duarte Dorme, a longtime resident of West Los Angeles, an elder who worked on federal recognitions for the Gabriela Tongva Indians of California and taught Stephen about his culture. Stephen graduated from Fountain Valley High School and attended Orange Coast College. He was a talented musician. In fact, I played with a musician with them at an event just a month ago. I have this clapper that they gave me as a appreciation of my engagement with them, and he inspired me. We were having a lot of fun together. And as a talented musician, he was an expert in cultural resources and one of the most successful and trusted locksmiths in Southern California. From his childhood, Stephen attended tribal council meetings, events, and gatherings to support and represent the Indian community. He was always willing to do what he could to participate in his culture and to learn from the history of the Indians in the region. While life was not always easy for Stephen, he was seldom without a winning smile and shared his positive attitude with everyone he met. Archaeologists who worked with Stephen on various sites enjoyed the experience due to Stephen's thirst for knowledge and his joy in sharing what he knew about the Gabriela Tongva Indians. He will be deeply missed by everybody associated with him. He's survived by his mother, Corrine, 3 brothers, 1 sister, and his children, Christopher and Felicia, along with 1 grandchild, Cineria. May he rest in peace.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl. Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Charles McClure passed away January 26, World War II, B-29 pilot, inspirational LAUSD math teacher, better known as Chuck, passed away at the age of 85, beloved husband of Rosedale, father of Charles and Daniel McClure Stepp, father of Teresa Pardini, David Ulmer, and Stephen Ulmer, 7 grandchildren, great-granddaughter Sharon Ulmer preceded him. A life member of many military organizations, most importantly to him was his faith, country, family, and friends, as well as the quest for lifetime learning. After flying B-29's World War II, came home to teach math and science to a whole generation of students with a great thirst for knowledge of what the future held. You might have heard of one of his students. She was a quiet, athletic girl who sat in the back of his classroom at Portola Junior High in Tarzana, soaking in everything her teacher said. Sally Ride would use it to become the first woman astronaut in history. Other students would go on to become doctors, professors, and work for the top think tanks in the country. Bravery and brains, a lethal combination, used both to help his country climb to the top of the world when it wasn't so clear we would get there. You don't let men like that leave without saying goodbye and thank you to them. Memorial services will be held this Saturday at 2 p.m. Woodland Hills Presbyterian Church, 5751 Platt Avenue, Woodland Hills. May he rest in peace, Charles McClure.
Thank you. If there are no other adjourning motions, Mr. Alarcon?
Announcement?
Sure, yeah, announcement from Mr.
Yeah,
Alarcon.
I just I think all of us know that President Mubarak of Egypt has agreed to step down, and although there's still a lack of clarity as to how they will proceed with their government, I think all of us want to be wishing the people of Egypt and the Middle East that this transition will be peaceful and progressive toward a new democracy in Egypt.
Thank you. With that, we will call the roll, Mr. Clerk. And we will next be in session this coming Tuesday. That is the 15th.